Hi, this is Sunset Mushy, and while I would normally have music playing, there's a few reasons why I'm not. One is that I'm downstairs. I just finished eating this really good mango. Though, it came from our grocery stores and I'm in America, so it's like as authentic as a mango can get. Anyways, but yeah, so I'm downstairs and my brother is upstairs and I prefer see he's watching anime right now and like I would want to listen to music and make a video, but he wouldn't want to like I don't know. Anyways, so that's why I'm downstairs. But this is a video on this person, I can't remember the other part of it. His channel, it's Johan Wennit, I think. Johan, and I think it's like Wennit or something like that. But I'll put a link in like the description. But he did this video where he talked about his shadow side, and that like he urges other people in the spiritual community or just people in general, to also come forward and talk about their shadow side and what that means. And so while I was eating this mango, I was listening to music on Spotify on my phone that I can't be listening to now because I hit record, but normally I have my computer for. Anyways, well, I guess this is all about honesty. So yeah, I'm also pretty high. So that's going to affect the way I talk about this. But when I get high, I get a little extra existential and a little extra like thinking about things. And so my shadow side story is going to be talking about some of like what I learned about my, I guess, shadow self and like what that means to me in some aspect. And this is regarding the twin flame journey. So if many of you guys probably know, I feel as though I met my twin flame back in January, and he's pretty cool. But I was just thinking how much I really want to reach out and how I wish that I could, because well, at first, I was sad, or I was like, okay, I learned like, yeah, it seems like he wants me in his life, I want to be in his life, and when there's time we'll hang out and talk and stuff. And even though I accepted that, it was like, damn, I still miss him, and it made me sad. But more than that was like, well, like the thing is, maybe he's sad. Like, I mean, so basically there's just like a lot of work, it sounds like, and a lot of stresses. I don't know, because we've only talked a few times, so I don't really know anything about his life. And that's, yeah, basically I don't know anything about what could possibly be going on. But as you guys know, this is what I'm trying to say. I watch twin flame videos and other channels and stuff, and so they talk about how, one part of the twin flame, one of the two people's maybe feeling like this, and the other's feeling like this, and it just so happens that I resonated with it for the last 3 months, or however long I've known that twin flames even exist. And so they've just been like kind of like saying some stuff, and I'm like, oh man, here I am, so sad and in the dumps, and like, not in the dumps, but like crying again, like out of the blue. This was last night, by the way, and I was just like crying. I also, yeah, never mind. But yeah, I was just really sad for a moment. I was just like, I'm sad because it's like, this is still really hard. It's like, even though I know, like, I shouldn't be sad, because it's like, there are many people on the twin flame journey. It's just many people you're separated from, where it's like, sometimes it's years before you see them again. Sometimes, it's like decades or never, blah, blah, blah. But like with this guy, with my twin flame, it's like, literally, it's like in the next few months. It's like 2019 is like the latest. It's like, come on, son, like, And so my shadow self is like, man, I miss people as if they die the moment I'm away from them. It's like, that is something on my shadow self, where it's like, I mourn for the loss of people. Even when, like, across the street, the Gonzaleses, I'm like, all right, bye, and I go back to my house. A part of me mourned a lot of the time. I've gone through it. It's like things like attention, not attention, what's that word? Attachment disorder. There we go. It's like that kind of stuff. Just feelings of like missing and longing, but I've gotten through so much of that. Whew, spooky. I've gotten and it was just this pot that like kind of like moved a bit, by the way, but I got through so much of that already in my life, and like dealing with, yes, we die every day, we change every moment, blah blah blah, blah. Like, it's good, it's great. I was just like, damn. Because, like, as much as I'm sad, then, like, what really hit was, like, well, like, imagine how he must be feeling. It's like, maybe he's not feeling, like, super sad, and, if not, that's good, but it's like, what if, So it's like, some of my anxieties show up where I'm like, what if he, like, would be wanting, like, wish we were, like, hanging out now and stuff like that. And then I thought back to, I think in February we went rock climbing once, and there was just a moment, there was a lot of moments, but like there was this one time, or this part of it, where he was talking about some of his like dreams, and it was like he wants to like travel the world and stuff, and like, a part of me felt guilty. This is my shadow self. I felt guilty because my shadow self, I started dreaming, and this is also my light self. They're the same, we're one and the same being, but it's like the part that like makes you feel like it's like, oh no, it's like your shadow self. Like I like the moment he brought it up, like I just couldn't help but like think like, suddenly I want to travel the world. Like suddenly, ooh, like I just like fantasize like me going around the world with him. Maybe other people too, like cool. But like I really romanticize the idea of just like traveling the world with him. And like by romanticize, like literally the whole romance is that we're traveling the world like together, and like that we just love seeing the world, and it's like really fun to share that with somebody. And so then like I was thinking like, oh no, it's bad to have those thoughts, it's wrong to have those thoughts, but it's okay at the same time. It's like the truth is, there's nothing wrong with hoping and thinking or dreaming about something that might never happen. I think that's something people were afraid of as our shadow self. It's like we don't want to think of something if we can't have it, I think that's what a lot of people think. But my mind thinks about it, and then I cry and mourn that like, hey, I have to accept whatever I just thought of could also just not come into reality, and that's okay. And so at one point, like that probably was a portion of why I would cry about like that I met this guy and like, wow, he's so great. But it's like, come on, like everyone knows you're the only like gay, bisexual, like you're the only gay person in this world. Like there's no guy out there for you, like that would go in my head. It's like I already thought it was impossible like when I met him, and then like every little thing that was just like amazing, and I would visualize these things. I'm like, why have these thoughts if I know that they could never come true, Or I don't even need quotes on, well, yeah, because, we don't know things. Like, that's the whole thing. You don't know anything. Like, I love not knowing, but at the same time, it's painful. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, thoughts. Like, having thoughts. But, like, I don't know. I've got my whole life. I guess this is more so, like, help you guys with your shadow self, because I've already done a lot of work with that, where like from a young age I already not taught myself, but like felt that when you have thoughts, the whole point of them is to know that they're not reality. So like, but that can make them, by knowing that and just seeing a possibility in your head, it can make you happy, sad, mad, whatever it is. And so when I see these possibilities in my head, these thoughts, these like fantasies of like, I don't even like dream about like traveling the world. There's just like the quick instant moment of like the idea of like this person, like looking at him, and the idea of like us traveling the world. Like I'm just like so in my feelings. It's okay to have feelings, basically. So as like some advice for your shadow self, it's like maybe ask yourself why you have such a problem with it. Some people will say like, I don't believe in twin flames. Some people will say, I don't believe in love, just period. Or I don't believe like in a successful job. I don't believe in this and that. Whatever it is that you don't believe in, perhaps it's because you had that thought and then you realized that just because you have the thought doesn't mean it comes true. And perhaps you think the pain of knowing that it outweighs the pleasure of just thinking it. And for me, it's worth it. It's worth thinking of the pleasure of it, because if you don't think of it, it's never gonna, like, you're only gonna see things in the world that you've thought of or someone else has thought of. And so if you just can't even think about like a happy ending for yourself because you don't want to wish that, because you don't want to think of something that might not come true, then you're already a step like farther into just being in your shadow self, where it's just like all you see, I don't know, is the shadow aspect of it, the concept of like shadow never becoming light, like illusion never becoming like understanding or reality. I don't know, like dreams becoming reality, reality becoming dreams. The fact that it works both ways, like a mirror, light and dark. You only embrace the shadow side if you say certain things can't happen, or that certain things could just never exist or don't exist, or not for you or not for the other person. Like, if we're all a universe and we're all connected, we don't have to agree on our beliefs per se, but if you believe someone else can have something but you can't, that is also telling that other person that their belief in those things, in a sense, doesn't exist. And that is shadow work. It's good to see the realism behind things, the pessimism rather, but it's also good to see the light work of it, of like, well, dreams can come true. I've had a dream once and it came true once, like, woo! It's good to have those both so they balance out as practical, as, I don't know, whoever you are, as whole, as oneness, where you're like, ooh, dreams could come true. They could also not come true. So when you have that, if you're just the shadow self, dreams don't come true, then you won't get as hurt when you have the thought, right? Because you're like, it was just a stupid thought. But when you have your light self and you have dreams come true, then you're not sad from it, you're just happy. That's setting you up for a huge crashing moment, because there's no way every single dream you have will instantly come true in the physical world right this moment. So you're going to have a lot of dreams. Let's say you have a dream like, I asked the guy out and he said yes and we got married the next day. And you wake up, and you're in school and you're like, Mister, what's your face? Like some weird crush on a teacher. Like, clearly this is not going to actually work in the real world. So if you're just the light self, all you're going to do is see like positive outcome, and then you're going to go for something, get shot down, and it's going to hurt so bad. And then when that happens, they're like, you instantly switch to shadow self. You're like, wait a second. You get into shadow self, but then you plunge deep. You're like, I don't know. And then with shadow self, if you're deep down there and you're never expecting anything, you never get those. And then when opportunities pop up that should make you be like, oh, light self, nope. Because in shadow self, you're like, that was coincidence, or like, that isn't because I wished it, that's because I didn't wish it, When shadow self, when things go the opposite, like getting things that are good, you don't just jump to light self. But with light self, if you just do that and you get shot down, of course you get the shadow self. In fact, sometimes if you didn't be aware of it, you just feel like a fool, making you more shadow self. But shadow self can't be fooled, Shadow self can't be surprised. Light self can. So when you get surprised, you can just switch. That's why it's so easy to just kind of like be more dark and like shadowy or depressed or anxious. Why it's so easy for bad things to keep happening. Because if you just force yourself to think good things and that they can happen, that's just getting you ready for the bad shit, for when it doesn't go your way. So you have to balance these out and realize, I dream of this thing, I want to believe in it. I'm also sad because I'm aware that could never happen. So that's where I'm always at with this twin flame journey, guys. I'm cycling it back to twin flame, and why I get so sad. Where on my aspect of this, it's like on Saturday when I like that video of me drunk in the bathroom, it's this concept of like accepting the loss is what it's when I fully decided to, I always had both light and shadow with this whole twin flame journey. So like, truth is that bathroom moment was just one of many. I had it a week after I met him. I had it the next week. I had it the next week. I had it the next week. 7 weeks down, older 7 weeks, there's this fork in the road. I had to tell him how I felt. And so I did that out of light and shadow. I did that knowing that maybe my dream of him saying, actually, I am not straight, but I'm in a relationship. I'd be like, wow, like my dream came true. Like someone can feel similarly to me. Like, wow, like, or like better than that even. Like another dream of like, let's run away together right now. Come live with me. All free. Truth is, I'm a billionaire. All these sorts of dreams. I didn't really think about either of those ones specifically. But the point is, any kind of good thing happening from like confessing my emotions, I thought about it, I dreamt about it, and then I cried long before that happened. I cried because I realized how easy it is for all of those to be wrong. And then shadow self, I thought about how this could all go so poorly. And so shadow self was like, all the ways this can go poorly. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I'm okay with that. So they both balance out to, if he feels the same way, oh my gosh. Like, light self kind of got a win. And then shadow self got to be like, yeah, okay, cool. Since I let light self take the reins on this one, cool. And then the vice versa, light self is like, oh, but also if I get shut down, good thing my shadow self was telling me about that, so I'll be okay with that too. It's like win-win. It's just like keeping the feelings inside and not telling him how I felt was like making me physically sick, making me more hurt and more miserable, because what's absolutely worse than whether you believe or not believe, or light self or shadow self, whatever, is by like doing nothing and being still, not making any changes at all. It's like, I don't ever want to sit still for a moment, because if you do that, that's like having a thought and then freezing and then doing absolutely nothing for eternity. It's like, why? Like, I wouldn't want to do that, So, but that's what was happening for 7 weeks of knowing him, because I kept trying to find ways to like get around telling the truth of how I felt, like, because the truth is, it feels good to let your feelings out. When you have feelings and you don't express them, to me, they do stay stuck within. You create a cage around your heart. And to me, that is much more painful. And that's painful for both my light self and my shadow self. Whatever happens to me, they both feel the pain. They both feel the pleasure. It's the same. And so, really, shadow and light are just perspectives for me. Those are the perspectives within me that help guide me in making my decisions, and just knowing that my decisions, I can trust in them. And so, with all that in mind, right now I'm just kind of really like this. I'm in this state of like, oh my gosh, I want to reach out to him, but I don't want to reach out to him with him thinking I have some sort of expectation in mind. Because the reason is, I want to reach out because it's like, it feels like perhaps he misses me. And like the pain, I can't even imagine the pain he's going through with his life. Like I'm one part of it, Like I can see in my life how like I have all these good things going for me, and obviously he does too. I'm not saying his life is bad or anything, but like I do know we're in a third party situation. I do know I'm not the one who has this other person making like whatever that is can make this so much painful. I'm not the one who's like I don't know, like in my life, like, I don't have a lot of stresses going on, basically, and I'm already, like, this is already hard, and so it's, like, I definitely believe in him. I definitely know he's going to make it through this, but, like, if he's just trying to be strong, I don't want to do nothing and just, like, go with it completely. I don't, like, when I hear something, I like, I hear, give me time, like, we'll hang out. I'm like, cool, great. Most people maybe will take that as, okay, don't bother them, just do nothing until they reach out. But the way I take it is, wait, what if he said that because he doesn't want me to worry, even though he, like, has like maybe a lot is going on, and like he's doing all this stuff, and I just choose to be like, yeah, okay. And then at a time where like maybe he has more free time, but he's perhaps so in pain, he just like is going to wait longer to reach out, you know? Like, this sounds pretty bad, but like I swear it's like my light and shadow self like as one. It's just the idea of like, the thing that mind boggles me is what happens when I want the same thing the other person wants. Like, what if it's communication? I'm like, isn't that usually just me? So like I hear from him, and I hear something like along the lines of like, okay, you know, like perhaps it's like time. It's just a matter of time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, me too. Like in many aspects, I'm not ready to spend the time that I speak of to him. But on the other end, it's like, damn, but I feel this way now. But then the overall thing that gets me through all of this is, hold on a second, son. You spent your whole life by yourself. You spent your whole life looking for someone like this person, like just as a friend, just as whatever, you know. Who knew you were gonna have romantic feelings for that same person? Like, whoa, for the person you were looking for. Like, who knew? Because like I don't know. I was just looking for like this ultimate friend my whole life. And I've met so many ultimate friends, and I gotta say, this guy, if like we're just gonna keep it simple, instead of saying twin flame, it's like my ultimate friend. Perhaps I might be his ultimate friend. Perhaps not. Perhaps he has a lot of ultimate friends. You know, whatever it is, I'm all for it. But he's my ultimate friend, and like what he's done for me, like I just want to be friends, and like perhaps if any moment I can be like helpful, but like not helpful like fill him up with something he misses, like, oh, if he doesn't love himself, oh that's okay, I'll fill up your love, you know. Like I don't want that. I want him to love himself. I want him to like his own life, to have his own self-worth, his own self-respect, all that stuff. I don't want to be giving him anything. I just want to share an experience so like it feels less lonely. And like it's not lonely because you're alone. It's like I've learned I'm not alone, and that I'm not lonely, but then by being alone with that feeling, I can express it with others, and other people can be like, yeah, I'm also cool with being by myself, you know? It's less lonely because it's something you both relate on. I don't know. Hopefully this makes sense. This is kind of both. This is like shadow self story and my twin flame story. I hope I'm not offending my twin flame by like saying private details. I know, like, to you guys, you're probably going to be like, there are no private details. You were just talking. But I don't know. I like, there are a lot of people in my life where I would just kind of speak as openly as this, and pretty much my family, and they'd be like, you're not supposed to tell people that. Or I'll be like, yeah, it was a rough weekend. And my, like, siblings next to me, he's like, you're not supposed to tell strangers that it's a rough weekend. And I'm like, oh, you're not? Crap. So, like, I don't know. So that's why basically it's like this ultra politeness where like, you know, you never know if you're offending someone. You never know if you're giving to you, it's your information, but you never know if it's like information the other person didn't want shared. Unless if you grow that connection and they tell you and you learn blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So anyways, if you guys are wondering like, oh man, this Sunset Mushy person has so much insecurity about sharing details. Well, you guys may be right that it's an insecurity, but it's one I love and appreciate. It's one where I don't get in my head and like cry about that. Let me think actually. What did I say that was? Something about some insecurity. Insecurity of what? Insecurity of not wanting to share details and like give something away to someone that the person who I heard that detail from didn't want spread around. Yeah, that insecurity. And I appreciate it. Oh, I think it's just called being considerate. Sorry. A little too much 420. Also, you guys don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. This has just been, I don't know, in my opinion, my belief on alcohol and marijuana, I should talk about it, is that just like everything else, like there's light side and shadow side. This person, Stargirl, the witch, I think, she has a really cool channel. She talks about this, and pretty much is how I feel. It's like these drugs are both good and bad, or in another way, they're not good or bad. They're just both, and like depending on your use and stuff and things like that. For me, I just particularly am not a fan of alcohol, and pretty much it will never be some sort of, pretty much a lot of things are not constants in my life. Both weed and alcohol are not constants in my life is pretty much what I'm saying. They are about the experience, about what there is to gain from it. If you're just doing it to be sad, which on some aspects can help you if you have so much trapped in and you've gone a long time and it helps you release, then yes, I would say they're pretty good at helping release toxins. But if you just keep filling yourself up with that, then like, damn, at that point it just kind of becomes like some sort of dependency. So yeah, it's just like a tool. If you're using a tool, cool. But if you become the tool, like if you like, I don't know, I guess if it becomes like, like if you have really good eyesight, but you bring out a magnifying glass, and you just tape that to your face, suddenly your eye is gonna suffer, you know. But if you use it when you need to, then it's good, you know. It's like, cool, you used it when you needed to, and then you like put it away, so to speak. So that's how I feel about drugs or weed and alcohol, and I guess drugs in general. Though, pretty much, my limit doesn't go too far. Hi. Oh, I started doing a video instead of cooking you the spaghetti. Whoops. Sorry. But I hope this video made sense. I'll make it right now. I'll make it soon.
I'll make it right here.
Okay. Did you watch more episodes?
I watched 2.
Nice. Okay. I hope this video made sense. I'm sending love and light and positive energy, and I hope this helped anyone out there who may be kind of wondering about shadow self stuff and like what exactly that means, or with facing it. There's a lot of different perspectives on this too. It can go a lot darker for me. Like I did a lot of control manipulation stuff like on video games, and would like enjoy like controlling people. It's pretty bad. But like that came from pain, of course. Your shadow self comes from pain and comes from fear, things like that. So just to share a bit of myself, because I'm looking back and I think a lot of the shadow self I just talked about kind of probably just makes me look like, ooh, I'm amazing. But no. Trust me, guys, I get it. Shadow self has a lot of dark stuff. This was just one of several outlets. But I'm gonna make some food that I was supposed to make. I feel kind of bad, but it's okay. It's gonna be really bomb, and he and I are both gonna appreciate it. Alright, sending love and light again. Peace out.